Well, now it's time to check your money. We are with America's Money Maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. How are you doing today, Vicki Brackens?
Well, good morning, George. I'm doing pretty well today.
All right.
So I think this is going to be what we will call a historic day, maybe?
Okay.
Okay, because we're going to take a little bit of a different type of journey on our conversation this morning.
Talk to me.
I think on your Facebook page, and if you haven't, any of the listeners haven't actually gone to George's Facebook page, you should do that
Right.
immediately following this conversation.
Right.
Because we posted earlier in the week some very critical information. As you know, for a long time we've been having conversations around zero no more.
Right.
And there was an article that was published this week, and this is a very timely, because usually we talk about things that are relevant but not necessarily specifically timely.
Right.
This was a very timely article that came out called African American Wealth May Fall to Zero. Listen to me, to zero by 2053.
Right.
Now, there should be lots of conversation about this afterwards, so I want to make sure that I give out my contact information right now because I want to hear from people concerning this particular subject that we're going to discuss today. So remember, you can reach me at 315-930-4499, or even better at info@brackensfsn.com. So let me read to you, George, here the opening statement, which is really, really impactful. You can have a glamorous six-figure salary, advanced degrees, and an executive title at a large corporation and still be impacted by the negative net worth virus that is prevalent in Black communities. According to the Road to Zero Wealth Report, published by Prosperity Now and the Institute for Policy Studies, the median wealth of Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053 if current trends continue. For decades, we've been told that education is a great equalizer. Unfortunately, more education does not automatically translate into more household wealth in Black communities. The latest Federal Reserve Board survey of consumer finance shows that a Black person with a bachelor's degree has a median net worth that is only 2/3 of the median net worth of a white person with no bachelor's degree.
With no bachelor's.
With no bachelor's degree. Now, before anybody gets all, as they say, gets this all twisted,
Yeah.
we are not telling you to stop getting a good education. There are some things that are happening, though, in the process that we are not taking, it's not even taking advantage of. We're not connecting the dots. You know, when we talk about connecting the dots properly, as we go through the process of education and increased incomes, that is driving our net worth statements down to a negative position versus a positive position. And so if this trend continues, that's why we had this conversation a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, about zero no more. If we continue to do this, we will be in 2053 in worse shape than we were in 1964. In worse shape, okay, in a negative net worth positions. So that's our topic today, George. What are we going to do, and what has happened as far as the way we are perceiving the process versus the way that we should actually be benefiting from, okay, all the things that have happened over the last 40, 50, 60 years. What do you think?
Well, immediately when you said that, I thought of all of the wealth that some in our community have and how that wealth is spread around, if you will. So that was one thing. But I just don't know, maybe it's not having access to capital, maybe it's not good habits, I don't know.
Okay, so I want to make sure you heard what I said in the beginning. You can have a glamorous six-figure salary. Go back to what we talked about as far as the wealth retention ratio. If you remember, we talked about how to take income and retain it to create wealth. There is a misconception of income being
Versus
wealth.
wealth, that's right.
There's a huge misconception there.
That's right.
So we've made lots of progress because
with income.
With income. We have made no progress with wealth. Okay. When we talk about going down to look at that net worth statement, so at the top on our balance or on our cash flow, we show 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. 300,000. I mean, I know there's people out here making $300,000 a year. I'm not pointing to you particularly, but if you've got a hefty six-figure income and the driving bottom line down to the net worth statement is 20,000, 15,000, there's something happening in the process that we are not retaining enough of the wealth. What's happening is money is flowing through us. Through us, not being captured, not being retained.
So you asked me, why do I think that?
Why is that happening?
You would tell me.
Okay. One of the things the study showed is that while we are very much attuned to, particularly Black women, we are very much attuned to education. In fact, you've seen all the studies about the fact that Black women are probably one of the most, or close to the most educated segment of the entire population. So we are very attuned and we are on it. But the cost we're paying for it is very much outsized to the benefit that you're getting. Now you say, Vicki, wait a minute. Okay, because what do you mean the cost? It's kind of like, I always say this, don't overpay for the product. If you and I've been reading, this has forced me into reading a lot of things this week. Education at one time was looked at as far as having a high school education that would make a differentiation, right?
Right.
And then, as more and more people got high school educations, in order to be further differentiated, you had to get a college education. And then from there, from the college education, now the differentiation is your graduate degree, not your undergraduate degree. Undergraduate degrees, because it's a process, it's a stair step, very important. But what we are paying for undergraduate degrees may not be right-sized for the benefit that we're getting. So what it's creating is an automatic ballooning of debt before we even get to the levels that's necessary for the differentiation, because they are showing from all of the studies that the higher the education level, the higher the debt, no matter what race it is, typically you would have a much better, you have a much greater wealth creation, but we're carrying so much debt across the first level to the second level that getting out of that debt is almost impossible.
And then you can't transfer the wealth.
And you cannot transfer the wealth. The money is coming to you, 200,000, 300,000, right through you to debt payments, and no retention. Absolutely no retention. So I'm going to stop right here because I have a feeling we're going to have a part 2 on this conversation.
Let's do it.
What I want you to do is to go to George's website, go to the Facebook page, for the Facebook page, Information for the Nation. There are several links there that we posted. One of the links is also talking about the Excelsior program here in New York State, which is a key that we are not using to create a educational debt load that is much more appropriate, because I think 0 is pretty much appropriate going forward, and how we can use that to increase the wealth retention ratio that we should have as we are progressing in our salaries going up each year.
All right, so we'll continue the conversation next week.
Yes, right. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to say our plate is half full.
Half full.
Okay, because I want to make sure you get the other half when we come back next week.
How do we find you again?
315-930-4499 or at info@brackensfsn.com.
All right, thank you very much, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC.